Hello VC. It's been a while, like what, 3 weeks? Yeah, the infamous vinyl tag, yeah, the vinyl tag wars between me and Rob Walker. Seriously. Anyways, yeah, just thought I'd hop in for a little while, just chatting about recent acquisitions, recent picks, mostly these, and um, and just a couple of older stuff that I recently got. What we're listening to right now in the background, the composition 123, which is a duo of sound artists that I'm not that interested in, but this side, which is called Illusion. They left their lives to make the desert blue. This one is based on sounds of casinos and electromagnetic fields in Las Vegas from 2015. Basically, these recordings made by Christina Kubish, who I'm really interested in, were used as part of the cinematic project Illusion by Florian Kindlinger and Peter Kutin. Hello, Bodo. Yeah, that should be right up your alley. So this is basically the sound of of Las Vegas, of the humming of the neon lights and all the electric cables that have been assembled chaotically around the city and within the city. So yeah, I had been eyeing on this for quite a while as I'm a huge Christina Kubish fan. Can you say that? And that was the one record of hers that I was missing. Even if it's not directly hers, this is quite in line with her work, since she really, her music is really concerned with resonance. So many different aspects of electromagnetic and electric resonance as the core sound of her music work. Anyways, that was just a record from like 5 years ago or so that I was missing, that I finally got. But to the good stuff. Now, first, I haven't even listened to these records yet. I just got them in the mail today. So this is Idée du Femelle. This is a Spanish band from the early mid-80s with a French name with quite sketchy spelling. Idée du Femelle, it doesn't work, the grammar is totally incorrect. But anyways, this is Sequences, which is the first vinyl release of this guy called there's an insert with it, or like a booklet, which is pretty cool actually. Quite comprehensive analysis of his work and his history. Oh, hey Dan. Hey Alex. Yeah, and this is a guy called Tony Parera. And it's it's a Spanish label with very nice cover, textured cardboard. And I heard some snippets online of this, and it sounded really cool. I pre-ordered it a little bit, so yeah, let's see. Let's have a quick survey of this. I've not played these records yet, so I don't know, but it might be a little bit dirty. Yeah. So let's see. Idée du Femelle. after Christina Kubisch. Hello, Philippe Koenig. Yeah. I will have more recommendations for you, Philippe. I probably will do a video about the topic you asked me about. But yeah, this is so good. I'm pretty sure this will be very interesting to quite a few of you. And also, I think that the quality of the video is probably less blurry than it has been in the past few videos. Hello, Kimba. So this is, I would say, like an archival release. It's the first release on Musica Machina, which is an offshoot of Hyver Music, the Spanish label of the name escapes me. It's a techno guy. Anyways, yeah, this is really, really strong. Quite cool that they managed to make it look like an actual record that came out in the early 80s. The paper, the design, everything. In the back, less so, more like a techno release, but yeah. Hey, Alan. Peter Ablinger is an Austrian composer, modern classical. I believe he's in his 60s now. He's well known for really re-embracing or reframing the concept of noise in modern classical music, like to just get rid of all the symbolism and to go back to the sheer expression and pleasure of it. These are three works of his, from the past 10 or 15 years. So hey Chris. He is kind of controversial in the academic world, but he's been laying his mark on it There's not that many releases of his on vinyl, so that was really a very good surprise to finally get this. So this is pure noise, but with really nice harmonies laying under. But most of his work is orchestral, so this is, the music that most people, I guess, are not interested in or consider boring modern classical. Huh? How exciting! Hey, Christopher. Yeah, so it is, Alan. It is orchestra actually, and some processing, but mostly this is actually orchestral work. Even the noise piece from before, which was lots of percussions. Yeah, as you can see, Orchesterstücke. I've seen concerts, live performance of his work that were just mesmerizing. This is the piece that I really liked on this one, if I remember correctly. And if I don't, who cares? Hey Rob, yeah, there will be a lot of crap for you in this one. Some stuff you might like, but mostly avant-garde stuff. Yeah, this is a piece called Wachstum Massenmord. Mass murder. Wachstum, I don't know what that means. Next one is pretty funny. Oh, pretty cool. Ich spreche noch ein bisschen Deutsch, Philipp, aber ich verstehe ganz besser, als ich spreche. Yeah, Kimba. You can be our Robbie for the night. So next, William Engelen, who's I'm not sure if he's from the Netherlands. Now I remember. Very interesting stuff. So basically, William was listening to a CD of Bartók and Kurtág, and the CD started to skip, and he kind of liked it, so he did like a transcription. He wrote the transcription of all the interesting skippings and had it performed by Benoît Gagnon, the famous classical trained pianist. And here is the result. Gebrauchsspuren. Hey Jeffrey. Of course, there's William Engelen is a very interesting composer. I got two other LPs of his that are quite different. So this is more like a conceptual piece he did. But I think from what I heard, the snippets, that would be a highly enjoyable one. Hey, Robbie. Kimba has taken over your toilet sound jokes for the day, Robbie, so you will have to come up with something different. Hey, John. Actually, I have Africa from Toto, Rob, but there's another story. I think it's a good record. I really, really like this. Philippe, you just named probably my most hated record ever. Yeah, it's good, Robbie. The concept is good, and the result is pretty effective. Next is the first vinyl release from Curtis Rhodes. Curtis Rhodes is a huge underground figure of electronic music. He used to be the editor of the of the Computer Music Journal at MIT Press between 1978 and 2000. He is mostly known for introducing or popularizing granular synthesis, which is a specific technique in electronic music from kind of invented in Canada. I've attended a few lecture fees in Paris, and I understood almost nothing about what he was saying, to be perfectly honest. But the music I really like. He did release a CD on Asphodel, a New York label, in the early 2000s that was really a game changer for a lot of electronic music producers. So this came as a very desirable and interesting piece of electronic music history. The first vinyl of Curtis Rhodes, Klang, Tint, and Modulud. And we're gonna try Modulud. So granular synthesis tends to sound very percussive, as you can hear. It is gonna be quite austere music. It's not like supposed to be melodic. Yes, Rob. Okay, next one is going to be pretty I think some of you might enjoy it. So next one is by it's a concept band called Trieb Schrub, which is actually Michael Beckett from Captain Michigan, and he was part of the Schneider TM band. For this, Trauer, Lloyd und Dance, which I believe translates into sorrow, song and dance. Basically, he went to the Harry Smith anthology of American folk music from '52, the 6 LPs on Folkways. Kind of one of the first archival ethnographical recordings of cabin music, as some say. And these recordings have become legendary, of course. And he basically did reworks, remixes, covers of these, and relocated them in a German region. And yeah, basically all this music that originally came from Europe and Africa, he relocated it in a very specific region of Germany with a very specific dialect, and let's see the result. Basically, he turned all these folk records into like some superb drone weirdness. Alan, I won't listen to you. So yeah, it says here, Total Sacrilege, a collection of remixes of tracks from Harry Smith's Anthology of American Folk Music, which was originally released in its entirety. So he did remix or cover the 84 tracks from the 3 volumes. The album is titled Trauer, Lloyd and Dance, which is drawn from an engendered Low German dialect, Lippisch Platt, and is poetically approximating Smith's volumes, ballads, social music, and songs. The hardware employed encompasses analog, virtual analog, and digital, a primordial soup of electrical fields, striated granulation, see? There's a common thread with the previous record. Microcircuitry, molecular oscillations, and mathematical manipulation. Communicating directly with the guitars, zithers, mountain dulcimers, fiddles, Jew harps, banjos, harmonicas, and human voices of 1930s America, itself a reterritorialization of African and European folk traditions that reach back farther and farther into our collective pasts. This was originally released in 2013 as a 3 cassette box set. So this is kind of like a best of it. Hey Janne. Portuguese record that might appeal more to Rob. This is CZN Commutator, their third record, the second they released in last year. This is João Felipe, João Paes Felipe, the percussion player, who did some stuff with Gnod, with Leon Morex and Valentina Magaletti, who also plays in a band called You, which features Tim Lewis, who plays with Spiritualized and Coil. But this is like a very percussive affair, if I remember correctly. This is more like an EP, and this is like a side-long track. That So this I would totally play in the techno set. So basically, I think that João and Valentina are playing all the drums, and Leon is producing the whole thing. This, I remember listening to it online and being on the fence for a while, trying to find a way to really embrace it. Usually the way I listen to stuff online, I try to reject everything. I try to find reason to dismiss it. And when I struggle to do that, after repeated attempts, I try to find something to embrace in it, if it's not already obvious. This was one of these. The two previous releases of them are interesting, but I think this is the strongest one. This is pretty cool. I really like how they use the bass drum. Okay, next. Finny Blocks Exploratory 1. Finny Block is a modern minimalism composer who did some really cool drone music in the early 80s. And his music is quite powerful. If you see him live, apparently it's mayhem. pure assault to the ear. This is music written by him and played by the RTT String Quartet, which is one of the current most in demand modern classical ensemble of chamber music. Yeah, so let's see. This is some really strong drone music. A little bit of Brazil, which I like a lot. And this will need some further listening, quite loud, I guess. Yeah, he has his most famous album was on the India Navigation, which a label that released quite some good jazz in the early 80s as well. So this was Exploratory 1, and this is Exploratory 2. Which will probably be in the same atmosphere. This, the musician is the Ensemble Phoenix Basel. It's Starker. So what you hear there is flute, clarinet, violin, trumpet, trombone, synth, percussions, double bass, e-guitar, and some electronics. Wow, this is really mighty. So Alan, usually what I do is I identify why I bought the record, which is usually for one track or a few tracks, and I focus on these. But for works like this, no, of course I sit through the whole track and I listen to the whole album. So this is Valentina Goncharova, the second volume of her retrospective, an Estonian, Ukrainian-born composer. She studied a lot of different kinds of music, from free jazz to modern classical, experimental. She's an experienced performer, musician. And yeah, these are tapes of hers that have been unearthed in some way. 2 years ago there was a volume 1 of this, a double LP that was fantastic. Kind of somewhere between Terry Riley and John Hassel, and something altogether unique. And this has been, I pre-ordered this a long time ago. It was delayed for quite a while, and it's finally here. Oh, she gets some help from Pekka Eräksinen on this Finnish experimentalist that is quite interesting. Yeah, Finland and Estonia, it's pretty close by. Have a beer. This is really nice. Yeah, this is more like Pekka Eräksinen. Yeah, that long track was really awesome. What's quite cool with music from the 80s, from behind the Iron Curtain, or more or less so, is how different their aesthetic rules are. How stuff that might have sounded cheesy or too contradictory technology-wise, maybe. If they were experimenting, so there was no rules. There was less rules in a way than in Western Europe. Next is something I know nothing about. It's a band called Die Weltraumforscher. This is a retrospective of this German project from the early 80s that is still active. So last year, Bureau B, great label, released 2 volumes of this. This is volume 2. covering the 90s to 2000, like from 1991 to 2012. And most of this music has been, all of this music has been released either on cassette, CD, and some on vinyl. But most of this was never released on vinyl, actually. And some great vignette of pastoral electronic music with some Neue Welt leanings, I guess. Comes with an inner sleeve with some German explanation or like lyrics. Yeah. And there's an English translation on the other side. Dungeon Synth. Yeah, maybe.
Fremdes Licht, ein großes Land.
A lot of the records of this guy, the originals, are still available for quite cheap. But to be fair, I had encountered some of his music in the 90s, the 80s stuff, and I didn't like it too much. It was a little bit too cheesy for me. But this I really like. Wait, this was a track I heard. I thought, okay, I'm not listening to anything more, I'm buying this. And this is from the early 90s. Next is one of my favorite records of last year. Favorite cover. The concept is great. And I haven't listened to it yet. Just a few snippets online. I pre-ordered it in February. It was only released quite recently. All these delays. So this is Manja Richtig. Manja Richtig is a cello, viola player, I believe, composer from Serbia, from Belgrade. And at the beginning of the pandemic, he was living on an island outside of Croatia called Korčula in Croatia. Yeah. So this is sounds and photographs gathered on the shores of Korčula in Croatia between July and December 2020. And yeah, so basically it's environmental music, field recordings, but with a very modern edge, in my opinion, from what I heard. Like, let's see if I still share the initial feeling I had from hearing some previews of this.
Take me to the elder, take me to my home, sweet home. Take me to my children, take me to my home.
very delicate music, if you could say so. Yeah, I really find this great because you can definitely hear what these sounds are, but the contextualization is and sound design is really gorgeous. It's very intense. Next is a Peruvian artist. It's Ale Hop. Ale Hop. This is her, I believe this is her 4th album. And the first one I actually really thought that it was worth getting. It's called Why Is It They Say a City Like Any City. I don't remember anything about it, how it sounded. I just remembered I liked it enough to take a chance. Yes, John, but it's not about hearing, it's about listening. I remember this I really liked. This is really powerful. Next is David Tudor, one of the great American electronic music and pianist of modern classical world. This is Mono Birds. In December 1969, David Tudor made a series of recordings at the Electronic Music Studio at the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, India, using Moog synthesizers that he himself had brought from the United States and installed there. 10 years later, on March 1st, 1979, Tudor used one of these recordings, which he now called Mono Bird, as the primary source track for a recording session at the New York discotheque Xenon. Maybe John will know about Xenon, a discotheque in New York in 1979. This album includes two 33 RPM vinyl records of these works and an essay by Yu Nakai, When David Tudor Went Disco. David Tudor is not disco, but maybe. Let's see. So this is obviously an archival recording, historical. I don't know if it will be very potent, as this is really experimental. This record is already, it's 2 months old, I think, and it's already selling for like hundreds of dollars. They only did like 200 or 300 of it. All the records I played before are records that I really enjoy and will enjoy. This is probably more like a recording that's historically relevant and interesting and fun. We'll see. Maybe I'll find something in it. This I like, actually. Anyways.
Let the water carry me. Tomorrow is another day. The suns come back in their seasons.
Now
and
is
I shall come again.
Jussi de Oliveira, Brazilian composer. Raga na Amazonia, which is from an opera called Inori, the Sacred Prostitute, from 1993, with Joseph Shelley on reeds, piri, vina, all different flutes, and Sang Woon Park on the voice. Jussi de Oliveira did some great pop music in the 60s, and some really amazing experimental electronic music in the 70s that got reissued a few years ago. This is on a Brazilian label, by the way, and it's it's the first time these tracks get released on vinyl. They were only on CD before. So this is obviously inspired by Indian classic music. And yes, that will almost be it. I think I'll play just one more track. So on this album, there's 4 compositions. Some purely electronic, some with a mixture of acoustic and instruments and synthesizers. And this is really nice. It's interesting. Like Korean music, Indian music, electronic music all together. I realize a lot of this music will sound esoteric for quite a few of you, and some might use more colorful words than esoteric. Who cares? You like what you like, and this is a whole. These are several fields of music beyond pop music, rock, etc. They've been around for as long as rock music, and often quite influencing these. If you listen to the Velvet Underground wouldn't exist if not for the good people who do all this kind of music. Pretty wild. Just wanted to check the one purely electronic music composition on this, as this is what I really like and know from her. I know you are, John. Yeah, this is wow. You see, when you've been around that kind of music for quite a while, you develop an ear for it, and you know quite instinctively what is really something strong. And this is called Onirico. And I think this was recorded in '86 and used for an opera the next year. Hey, Mike. And maybe to finish it, two other records I got recently, older stuff. Actually, this is from the same year this was done, but in a quite different region of the world. Let's go back to the UK with Bruce Gilbert's from Wire, his third solo album, The Shivering, on Mute Records. This will be more for John. Yeah, half empty. He's a Wire Dome. He did some stuff with Russell Mills, the graphic designer, as well. Who most people know because he did the covers for Nine Inch Nails, early 90s stuff, like the Downward Spiral. This is great. This is killer, actually. He's got his first four albums, solo albums. One is not that good in my opinion, and the three others are must-haves of 80s music. But the first three Dome records, which is the band, which is basically Wire under another name doing more stuff like that in 1980. They released three albums the very same year. That was pretty insane. Oh yeah. And lastly, a record I've been after for quite some time, not actively. It only came out on vinyl as a promo. It's quite funny, it's called like a DJ edition, since it's mostly abstract ambient psychedelic rock. This is a compilation on Astral Works, the US label, with some electronic music, but also with tracks from La Bradford, Flying Saucer Attack, Node, and some projects of like 777, which is Steve Hillage, if I remember correctly. And all these tracks are unreleased and exclusive to this. The La Bradford track is great, and the Flying Saucer Attack track is really something. I wouldn't say that we're anti-rock and roll, John. I would say this heat were anti-rock and roll, but Wire, it's more nuanced. Anyways, let's finish off with more psychedelic mood. a double LP, by the way. And they have like label design is like this kind of techno mid 90s Midwest acid techno stuff. It's look like this, and this is from I think this is from '96. So that would actually be exactly then that they hired the wrong graphic designer to do the artwork for this. This came out on CD, by the way, but on vinyl, yeah. And I thought it was high time to get it before it becomes too difficult to track down. Flying Saucer Attack started in '92, I believe. I got their whole catalog here. And their first album had like a cover of Sued, the Drowners, one of the very first Britpop hits, which the cover became like a washed out wall of noise, but not aggressive. It was quite original. And that was the Flying Saucers Attack trademark sound for most of their career. But this is interesting as it uses well discernible loops. So there's an electronic music aspect to the aesthetic of this track that is quite rare in, or not the norm in Flying Saucer Attack. And the saxophone here. When I met him in the mid-90s, I guess, he confessed to me that his main music inspiration is Sun Ra, which might come as a surprise to some, but not necessarily. Anyways, that was a last stream of the latest stuff in the Central TARDIS. And yeah, I hope the picture was less blurry than usual, and that some of it was interesting and enjoyable, maybe. It certainly was for me, so I'll see you guys later in a more focused, dedicated video, maybe related to some of the stuff I played in there. And I'm waiting for some more stuff before I do my 2021 best of video as well, which will be quite epic as the previous one, I guess. Yeah, epic, big words, who knows. Anyways, have a nice day if you're on the other side of the pond, and have a nice evening if you're here. And I hope everyone is well and that the Davis will finally do some videos. Yes. out.